Okay, good evening. New location for start Bezos Hashem. Continuing the Omud Yomi, Daf Ein Tes Omud Beis, the Omud Yomi of Dirshu, Ein Tes Omud Beis, and we're learning today. We're going to learn everything, almost everything, about the type of klaf, the type of different parchments that are good for Sefer Torah, tefillin, and mezuzahs. Well, obviously, we're getting it through Shabbos, but the idea is from Shabbos, we're going to expand into what kind of parchment is good for different types of Divrei Kodesh, of Tashmish Kedusha, Sefer Torah, Tefillin, Mezuzahs. Time as an aside, what I discovered today was I saw in Mishnah Brura that Sefer Torah had the highest level of Kedusha, then Tefillin, then Mezuzahs. For Ibud, for example, when it comes to Ibud, it comes to, as we say, La'abed, to preserve and process the leather, making it good, not leather, klaf, then Sefer Torah, if you want to do it for Sefer Torah, you have to have in mind Sefer Torah, nothing less than that. Tefillin, no less than that. The mezuzahs is the lowest. On the other end, there are certain halachos only mezuzahs have, like sirtut. There are different halachos for each one, chok tuchos. But at the end of the day, we have that hierarchy. That's important to remember, and we'll see much more soon. So basically, we're going to start Ein Tes Amud Beis, quoting the Mishnah. Klaf kedilichtov olav parsha ktana. The topic of the shiur, the topic of the perek is what? How much? What is the shiur for different things to be moitzi? What's the shiur for taking out wine, milk, oil, paper, bechule, right? Glue. And now klaf. How much is klaf? Lichtov olav parsha ktana. What's parsha ktana? The minimum amount for taking out klaf is to write the smallest parsha of the four parshas of tefillin. There are four parshas in tefillin, and the smallest one, the shortest one, is the Shema, right? On the tefillin shel Rosh, you don't have just one long Megillah of four. You have four different compartments, and one of the compartments is the Shema. Shema until b'sholechot. That's the shortest one. Welcome. And Tes Amud Beis, one top of the page. Yeah, that's the shortest one. Makes sense, right? Because we always go for the most machmir. People would use klaf in order to write the shortest, smallest parsha of tefillin. Okay? Now, when we say klaf, we say, of course, klaf. What do you mean? But really, before we continue, we have to now quote what the Tosfos says, and most of the halachic rishonim, the Rambam Rosh, and Shulchan Aruch follows them. They discuss now three terms, which we're going to see again and again and again and again. When we say klaf, we're all wrong. There are really three parts of an animal's skin. You can write the holy scriptures on. Sefer Torah, Tefillin, mezuzahs have three different types of skin or parchments you can write on. When you flay an animal, you skin an animal, so the skin has two parts. In other words, let's say this is the outer part. This is where the hair of the animal, the tzad seah, the outside world, and this side is where the animal's flesh is. Really, it's a double layer. The skin has at least two layers, and when both layers are together, the outer and the inner, right, they're called gvil. Those of you who learned with the basel, maybe the Fiomi, anybody? So gvil is a thick wall, and here gvil means a thick kind of leather. That's called klaf. Excuse me, that's called gvil. I fall into my own mistakes. Gvil, you can write a Sefer Torah in a gvil, halacha, gvil in Nisrofim, gvil in Sefer Torah. It's mentioned a lot in the Gemara, in the Avodah in other places. When you split it, as you should, now you have two parts. Big machlokes rishonim, but let's keep it simple and follow the Tosfos, some say Rashi, Rosh, Rambam, Shulchan Aruch. They say that the outer one, the one where the hair is, right, that is called a klaf, right? And the inner one, the inner part, after you parted it, you separated it, the inner one is called duchsostus. The duchsostus. Okay? So from now on, we're going to keep talking about gvil, klaf, and duchsostus. One more thing we have to remember. When we write something on klaf, and I'll tell already the hint, the starting point, the beginning of the journey, the axiom is, as we're going to quote a Mishnah from Menachos Lamed Beis, I think, that tefillin are written on klaf and mezuzah on duchsostus. Okay? I'll leave it for now. There's more details, but this is the basics. So when you have the entire skin, you have to do, this is very hairy. It's a cow. So you take out all the hair, you smooth it, right, to make it nice from here. From the other side, you clean it from all the flesh, all the gooky flesh and blood. That's from there. What do you have together? A gvil. That's good for Sefer Torah. Practically today, we don't use gvilim. The Mishnah says they're too heavy and they're not so nice. They're not so good. Use klaf. What's klaf? The outer one. Imagine yourself that's the outer world. The klaf is the outer part, the part that sees the nice open air in the world, and the inner part is the duchsustus. And let's just assume for now, and is generally speaking, is halacha. That's our discussion today. Klaf is good for tefillin, and duchsustus for mezuzahs. That's the starting point. From now, we can continue. But why we're learning about Stam? I thought we were learning about Shabbos. So, Veraminu, we have a question on the Brisa. What did we see in the Mishnah? Klaf, yeah? Klaf is for the tefillin. So now we know klaf doesn't mean just any klaf. Klaf is specifically klaf, meaning the outer layer of the skin. That is good for tefillin. Okay. So how much am I chayev? The smallest part of the tefillin. Shema, v'yim shemaya, kadesh. The smallest one is the shema. Very nice. Veraminu. We see a brisa that seems to contradict the Mishnah. It says klaf the duchsustus, both klaf, the outer layer, the duchsustus, the inner, duchsustus, the inner layer, kedelicht of all of mezuzah. Oopsa. You see that mezuzah is what the minimum for klaf, and that's not good. As we all know, mezuzah has two parshas together, shema v'yim shemaya. If mezuzah is both shema v'yim shemaya, then it's mamash stira. What's the minimum amount of klaf that I'm chayev if he took out in Shabbos? Is it just the shema, which is the minimum of tefillin, or is it mezuzah, which is right, which is both, which is more than twice as much? Shema v'yim shemaya. We also mezuzah from the inside, right? When we worried, we send it to the checker, right? Shema v'yim shemaya, both together. So it's a stira. Even if you leave the chtustus alone, maybe the chtustus is also good for mezuzah, but you're telling me klaf is for mezuzah, and the Mishnah said klaf is for tefillin, for the smallest tefillin. So what's going on? Answers the Gemara, my mezuzah. You know what mezuzah means? Mezuzah shebat tefillin. Wow. Mezuzah means in the tefillin. And the Rishonim say, I think the Ritva says, because the four parshas are stacked inside, they're like a mezuzah. You have a mezuzah in your door, you have four little mezuzahs in your tefillin. It's called a mezuzah. Cool. So therefore, when we said mezuzah, we don't mean that thing you kiss when you leave home. Mezuzah actually means mezuzah shebat tefillin. Very nice. Okay. And therefore, really, it means all one thing. It means tefillin, and it means just the smallest one. Oh, the smallest parsha of tefillin, that's what klaf is used for. Life is beautiful. V'kari, correct the Gemara, v'kari lo tefillin mezuzah? Really? You actually call tefillin mezuzah? Very nice explanation that it's stacked inside, but did we ever find in the Mishnah Brisa that tefillin are called mezuzah? Yes, the Tanya. This Tanya is not a question, it's a uncharacteristically, here Vatani means support, not a question. Vatanya, I'll show you a brisa that tells us mezuzah is called what? Tefillin. The tefillin is called mezuzah. Wow, such beautiful unity. Look what it says. I want to remind you before we continue. Ooh, a long time ago. Remember Daf Yudalid? Daf Yudalid. If you touch, you do. If you touch a Sefer Torah, you have to wash your hands. Your hands become Tomah, Metame Truma. We don't want people to touch Sefer Torah. And the holier the thing, the more it's metame sayadayim. The Gemara in Megillah discusses whether Esther and Daniel are really called part of Tanakh or not. And if Kamini is metame sayadayim. If not, the holier the thing, the more we're concerned about it, and we say if you touch it, your hands are tomeh. Hands off. It's too kodesh. We're not allowed to touch a Sefer Torah, right? You always touch it with a mitpachas. So now the question is the different parts to tefillin. When we say tefillin or kodesh, if I touch the tefillin, do I have to wash my hands? Unbelievable. Says the Brisa, Retzuas tefillin, ima tefillin, metamas esayadayim. You have Retzuas tefillin with the tefillin. When the Retzua, you know the Retzua is, the strap of the tefillin, the black one, is together with the tefillin, as it is usually, then metamas esayadayim. Because it's now total to the real tefillin, to the real deal, to the shalrosh shel yad, then it's metamas esayadayim. Every time you put on the tefillin, you have to wash your hands. Unbelievable, yeah? Bifnei atzman en metamas esayadayim. But the retzuas alone, let's say you separate them, right? You work with tefillin, or you separated the tefillin from the retzua. The retzua alone is not really kodesh. I mean, it has a certain level of kedusha maybe, but when it's separated from the bais, it's not really as kodesh as Sefer Torah. It's not really holy text, and therefore it's not metamas esayadayim by itself. Now, Rabbi Shimon ben Yehuda Omer, and this is getting gradually more mekel. Mishum Rabbi Shimon, he says, "Hanogea beretzua toir ad shiga b'ktzitza." even if the tefillin are all connected, even if you have the tefillin, the ktsitsa, not ktsitsa is the base. Ktsitsa is the leather, the hard leather, the ktsitsa should be at the top, the four compartments. Even when you have the tefillin all intact, all in one body, as we usually do, you're not chayav to wash your hands if you touch the retzua, unless you touch a ktsitsa. The retzua, even when attached, it's not so holy. The ktsitsa, that's a real thing. That really contains the holy stuff. And if you touch that, it's like you touch Sefer Torah, and it's your yadayim mitam truma. Okay, Rabbi Zakkai mishmoy Omar. Rabbi Zakkai, it's the first time I see Rabbi Zakkai. I guess it's the father of Rabbi Yochanan. Yeah, if you touch a shalosh, then you have to wash your hands. Yeah. It's official the other thing also. Ktsitsa, I think, means both. Yad is less kodesh. It's true. I don't know. I think it's the same. Rabbi Zakkai mishmoy Omer. Rabbi Zakkai says on behalf of Rabbi Shimon, Tohoir ad shiga b'mezuzah atzmo. Ooh, no, you're not chayiv to wash your hands. Your hands are not tomeh, even if you touch the ktsitsa, meaning the outside of your bais, that black square box. Nothing happens unless you touch the. Say again, mezuzah. So you see that if you open your tefillin, your first time, you're checking it, the inside, you touch the inside parchment, and how's it called? Mezuzah. Great. So we have a support for what we just said. Sometimes tefillin are called mezuzah. Very nice, and that's what we're looking for. So no stira. The Mishnah and the Brisa said the same thing, that when you take out parchment enough to write the minimal, the smallest parsha of tefillin, the Yochayev on that amount of klaf on Shabbos, and sometimes in the Brisa it's called mezuzah. And look, we have a support. It's called mezuzah. Very nice. Now, this question is it's a double barrel question. The Gemara is asking a question. The Gemara Tessa says, "I'm giving you a preparation." The question is the double barrel one, double level question. You see, soon you see what I mean. It says in the Seifa of that same Brisa, klaf. Again, it says klaf. The Sefer says, you know how much klaf you have if you took out klaf and Shabbos? Enough to write the smallest, shortest parsha of tefillin, which is Shema Yisrael ve'ohavto. So the Sefer is telling me how much klaf am I chayav on if I took it out to write the minimum parsha of tefillin. Michla, that is to say, the reisha b'mezuzah atzma skinan. Mashma the reisha, which is what we just learned in the top of the top of the page. 1 second. Then what? When we wrote klaf v'duchsusus lichtov mezuzah, it means mezuzah. It's double barrel question. Question number 1. It's very nice to call mezuzah tefillin and have one nice big happy family. But when you tell me mezuzah is X and tefillin is Y, then tefillin means tefillin. If it's two separate brises, one in Maseches Toifrim, one in Menachos, here it's mezuzah. But if I'm telling you in one sentence, I want Coke. What does Coke mean? Maybe I mean Pepsi. Some people call Coke Pepsi, Pepsi Coke. But if I said I want Coke and Pepsi, then Coke meant Coke. If both are together, then you can't get confused over here. And secondly, and as Tosis points out, it's tamistira. You're not contradicting yourself, right? Are you telling me it's kalaf kedei mezuzah, or are you telling me parsha ktana? Answers the Gemara, and that's the final answer for now. Hachiktani. We have to reread the. Well, are you okay? What did you ask you? Now, if you took out on Shabbos klaf, if the amount of klaf that you can write on for Shema till uvisharecha, on that amount you chayiv. I don't know how big the writing is. I guess that's another shaila. Some stuff can write bigger than others. I don't know. I guess the average, what? Unless an you're not chayv. Exactly. Very good. So what's the most? Achiktani. This is the new reading of the Brisa. Klaf. No, not for klaf. Not for taking out klaf. No, people don't take out klaf. We're not talking about papers here. Klaf is expensive in choshuv. You don't take out klaf. You don't keep klaf for less than the parsha of tefillin. So how do you reconcile the mezuzah klaf business? Hachiktani. We have a good way to reconcile. Let's reread. Klaf v'duchsustus shuran bekama. Remember we said the word duchsustus at the beginning of the Brisa? Now it's coming to life. What's the shiur of klaf and duchsustus? How much? Duchsustus kedelichtov of mezuzah. Very good. Duchsustus is mezuzah. And we're not talking now about klaf. Why? Because as I told you, the first assumption is normally the mezuzahs are written in duchsustus. The klaf, very nice. Really, the Brisa gave us the opening shot for both. It says Klaf duchsustus. Mezuzah means what for duchsustus? Later on, klaf is for the tefillin. Very good. Each one to his own. You take out duchsustus, it's only the minimum of duchsustus is mezuzah. The minimum klaf is for the shortest parsha of tefillin. Very nice. Now, Omarav continues the Gemara. Omarav. Now, Rav is going to make a statement, and that statement will basically follow on to us till the end of the page. Omarav. Rav is going to make again. Let's summarize. Let's now assume, and it's a good assumption. So far, seems to be building up. Let's leave the Sefer Torah. He's not right now on the table. Mezuzahs are written on the duchsustus, and that is the inner part of the skin. Yes. Tefillin are written on klaf, which is the outer one. Okay, all very good. Fine. Comes Rav in a moira, and he's coming with a radical statement, and that's going to be attacked time and again. Amarav, duchsustus harehi keklaf. Duchsustus is as good as klaf, meaning ma klaf kosvin olav tefillin, av duchsustus kosvin olav tefillin. Says Rav, duchsustus is as good as klaf, just like klaf is good for tefillin, the chatchila. So to duchsustus, you may write your duchsustus, your tefillin on duchsustus. Okay, very nice. Rav is adding that it's not so exclusive anymore. And just like you can write tefillin on klaf, you can also write tefillin on duchsustus. That's the big chiddush of Rav. He just threw a big bomb into the Bais Medrash. Right? Now, what about mezuzah? Can mezuzah be on both? That will be discussed later. Mezuzah is not discussed as can mezuzah be on klaf? I don't know. The Gemara doesn't know either, actually. We'll see it later. Right now, the big bomb is that up until now we thought that tefillin are only good for klaf for tefillin. It says no, the duchsustus is also okay for tefillin. Tnan. Now we're going to challenge Rav from our very own Mishnah. What did we see in our Mishnah? Klaf kedilishto balav pasha klan shebetefillin shishma Yisrael. What did the Mishnah say? What's the minimum you chayav on what on klaf? Like tefillin. Tefillin, yeah, the size of klaf, which is the minimal size you chayav on, is the smallest parsha of tefillin, shema Yisrael. The diuk is klafi in duchsustus loy, right? It sounds like that's a minimum for klaf, not for duchsustus. There's actually one version in Mishnah that says that. Mashma klaf's minimum is shema Yisrael. Duchsustus is not. That's wrong according to Rav. According to your Rav, the Mishnah should have said klaf and duchsustus are both kosher for tefillin, and both are equal, and both of them in the minimum amount should be pasha klan shebetefillin. It doesn't. It very clearly, blatantly ignores duchsustus. Mashma duchsustus is not good for tefillin, not like Rav said. And says the Gemara, one word, lemitzvah. What does it mean? To run a survey, when you get yourself tefillin, for your son, you get tefillin. You get like the cheapest third grade or the mehudar. Okay, I don't have confessions, but I assume most of your Shammai people, you want the best. So although duchsustus mitzad hilchas tefillin, you don't have money, you ran out of klaf, duchsustus is okay for tefillin. It's kosher, but it's not lechatchila, it's not the best. The mitzvah, lechatchila's mitzvah of tefillin is the klaf. And therefore, when he asked the rabbi, was a posek for Stam, Reuven Mendlowitz, he asked him about tefillin. What should I buy with tefillin? Preferably klaf. If not, duchsustus, oichgit, also fine. When you ask the rabbi about Hilchas Shabbos, he'll tell you, most normal Yerei Shammai people in Soifrim who respect themselves, they wouldn't keep duchsustus for tefillin, because that's plan B, that's class B. And in Shabbos, we care about people's normal every day-to-day psychology. People don't normally keep duchsustus for tefillin, because that's second grade. They keep it for mezuzah, where it's lechatchila for mezuzah duchsustus. And therefore, it's true what the Mishnah said, and Rav is also right. Because lechatchila, you don't keep duchsustus for tefillin. What are you, some kind of chafifnik, like Haredi light? You keep very well everything, right? Very good. And therefore, what do we say? Therefore, the mitzvah of tefillin, the mitzvah is the nice one, for tefillin is the klaf, and that's the minimum amount. Duchsustus is double as much for mezuzah. Very good. Toshma, that's very good for now. Now we're going to, before we continue, I know I'm going to get there sometime. So this is the klaf. Let's say this is the animal. Hello, this is a cow. It's not my fingers, just your imagination has to be a bit big now. This is the outside world. This is klaf. This is the inside body of the cow, and there's duchsustus. When you separate it, this is for tefillin, and this is for mezuzah, without Rav's chiddush, the normal way. When you actually write, the cloth has to be, the text of the tefillin has to be written in the inner side, which is called sad haboso, the side closer to the flesh. When you write on the mezuzah, it has to be tzad se'al, the part that's closer to the hair, closer relatively. It's very easy. It's very easy to remember. They both have to be written in the middle. That's how I remember it. Yeah, very good. That's a location of where you write the holy text when you write tefillin or mezuzah. That's how it goes. Okay? I'm sure there are many reasons which I don't know. It's not so even discussed in the Rishonim. Rabbi Mechosh neighbor. Yes. Of course. That's why he's saying no. Lamaskona, no. Rav says, although I'm right that you're allowed to write, you're allowed to write the tefillin or duchsustus, but because practically on a day-to-day level, on everyday level, really people only keep klaf for tefillin and not duchsustus. So therefore, Rav doesn't argue in the Mishnah. So for hotzah, you only have on klaf already in today parsha shel tefillin if you took out klaf. And duchsustus only mezuzah. Because people normally don't keep the chusuk for tefillin. It's okay, but it's not lechatchila. It's not done by normal people, unless you're really stuck, you're poor. Noten. He's writing all parsha. Why? Maybe you're missing one parsha. Mapitam. Excuse me. Let's say I go to the first time and he tells me, "Oh, the Megia Boydek." He's telling me 3 out of my parshas are kosher. I wouldn't buy a whole new thing. I'll buy just the parsha of Shema. Sure. Each one separate. Each one is separate. Yeah. Let's say a guy has one postal parsha, right? He has 3. He needs a 4th one, the Shema. He'll do only the Shema, for sure. Yeah. Say them. Good. Toshma. Now we're going to see a brisa from Enochas Lamed Beis, which again, we're going to again attack Rav. Again and again and again. What did Rav say? Rav said that the duchsustus is okay for tefillin. That was a chiddush. Says the brisa, halachos Sinai, something that we know orally balpeh from Moshe Rabbeinu till today. Halachos Sinai, tefillin ala klaf, as I told you, tefillin ala klaf, mezuzah duchsustus, good old stuff, right? And now klaf bimkom boso. What did I tell you? Klaf, you have to write on the part that's closer to the inner part of the behema. Mezuzah duchsustus bimkom se'al. Very good. Duchsustus bimkom se'al. Duchsustus, when you write your mezuzah, write it over here. This part of the skin, the one relatively outer. But you see clearly against Rav. Do you hear what we said? We said clearly, tefillin is klaf, and mezuzah duchsustus, and that's it. It's against Rav. Answers the Gemara, the mitzvah. Same answer. In other words, the Brisa is telling you what a good erlich is supposed to do, right? All of us in the Chisha Abayim, we all have good tefillin. You also, yeah. But the good guy wants to have good tefillin. The that's the way to go. Rav is telling you the b'di'eved. Frek the Gemara v'atanya shina posul. Shina posul. The Brisa says if you changed it, you swapped. Meaning what? Shina posul. If you did mezuzah on klaf or tefillin or duchsustus, short circuit, posul. That's against Rav. Answers the Gemara 2 answers. I'm going to follow Tosfos now. A mezuzah, meaning it's one way, which means if you wrote mezuzah on klaf, that is posul. But the other way around, no. Mezuzah on klaf, bad choice. Me'akev. But tefillin and duchsustus is okay. Frek the Gemara straight away, Va'atanya, but the Brisa doesn't say that. It says Shina bezeh ubezeh posul. Again, it says Shina both, ze and ze. Mashma both tefillin and mezuzah. Mashma, if you took the tefillin and you wrote them on what? You wrote them on duchsustus, bad news. That's mamash against Rav. Answers the Gemara, idi ve'idi a mezuzah. Both sides relate to mezuzah. What? What does it mean? It says both. What do you mean mezuzah? I'm following Tosfos now, not Rashi. And the Gemara says very simple. The hod kasvino a klaf bimkom se'ar, inami duchsustus bimkom boso. That's what it means. You took the mezuzah, you Mr. Smarty Pants, and you know what you did? You took the mezuzah, and zeh v'zeh shina doesn't mean changed tefillin duchsustus and mezuzah klaf. You changed and you wrote the duchsustus. You changed the duchsustus here, you wrote, and the klaf here. The location within duchsustus and within klaf, you wrote it on the wrong side of the parchment. That's what it means. And the Tosfos says you could have answered the same thing about tefillin. Zeh v'zeh shina doesn't mean change from tefillin mezuzah tefillin. It means you wrote in the duchsustus in the place where you're supposed to write in klaf and vice versa. The location in mezuzah, in duchsustus and in klaf is wrong, and therefore Rav is still surviving. His pshat still survives. Nevoi Seima, another pshat. Shina bezeh bezeh. Tanoi, oh, now we're giving up a little bit, giving in. And Achinami, you know what? Maybe Shina zeh bezeh means what? That tefillin on duchsustus are possible. Ooh. Against Rav. Is Rav scared? No. It's machlokes tanoim. Machlokes tanoim. Rav is not concerned because now we're going to see that Shina bezeh bezeh, really Shina bezeh bezeh means tefillin on duchsustus and mezuzah on klaf, like we said before. And it's possible. That's against Rav. So what? It's a machlokes tanoim. And Rav has every right in the world to choose the Tana which he holds by. The Tanya, it says Shina bezeh bezeh posul. And Achinami, there is a Tanakama that says Shina tefillin to duchsustus mezuzah to klaf is possible. That's not so nice for Rav. Okay, but listen to this. Rabbi Acha machshir. Rabbi Acha says that it's kosher, that it's not a problem. Yeah. In other words, you can change and you can do tefillin on duchsustus and mezuzah on klaf. Great. Mishum Rabbi Achi bar Chanina. The Amri Mishum Rabbi Yaakov bar Chanina. Right? They say that this was stated according to those people, and Rav may follow them. That's answer number one. We said it like the wrong way around, but these are the Amoraim who read the Brisa that way. Rav Papa Omar, Rav Papa gives another answer to Rav. Again, what did Rav say? Remind me, the tefillin may be written on duchsustus, and now he says machlokes tanoim, and he supports the opinions of Rabbi Achi bar Chanina, Rabbi Yaakov bar Chanina. Okay, a second opinion to support, to explain Rav is Rav Papa. What does he say? Rav Papa Omar, Rav de Omar, Ketana de Bei Menashe. When Rav said what he said, he followed another brisa of Tana de Bei Menashe. What's that? The Tana de Bei Menashe. Kosvo. He wrote, the Brisa starts with the word kosvo. What's kosvo in English? Kosvo means he wrote it. And the question is going to be, what's it? But we don't know right now, okay? He wrote it, something, either Sefer Torah, tefillin, or mezuzah, ala niyar. Let's say he wrote one of the kisvei kodesh, of the stam, on a paper. On a paper. What do you say? Tefillin on a paper works? I don't think so. Ala niyar, vala matlis, a rag, cloth, fabric, yeah? Then psula, disqualified, it's possible. Ala klaf ve'ala gvil ve'al duchsustus kshera. Look at that. There's some kind of stam item, magic. All three are working for it. Klaf, gvil, duchsustus. Why are we breaking our heads on a Mudyami? There's some item of stam, they can be written on a, pick your choice, whatever you want. Klaf, gvil, duchsustus, all. Kos v'mai. Which magic item is it that any kind of parchment can be used for it? Well, I'd like to know. What is it? What's kosva? Ilem a mezuzah. If you want to tell me mezuzah, mezuzah klaf mikasvinan. The Gemara here, as opposed to what we said before, they had a masoira. We're going to change it later. But again, as I told you, we're starting this this Amud with a big prejudice. The ot kedumot we have here. Mezuzah cannot be written on klaf. The Gemara assumes that mezuzah cannot be on klaf. We push that away as an option. Mezuzah klaf mikasvinan, is there such a thing? I think the Ritva says, or one of the Rishonim, they had a Messiah that they're just not done. You don't do that, yeah? Ela alav tefillin, must be tefillin, givaldik, tefillin, beautiful. In other words, here's a brisa that supports Rav. What does it say? Tefillin may be written on, obviously klaf, also gvil, and last but not least, duchsustus. We found now you have duchsustus that can be written tefillin duchsustus. That's Rav's ideal world. Frag the Gemara, we're going to reject the proof now. No, there's no proof for Rav. According to you, tefillin a gvil mikasvinan. As radical as you want to be, you can convince me, baby, with Rav, that tefillin can be good on what? Maybe on duchsustus, but tefillin on gvil, no such thing. Again, we have a lot of pre-assumptions here. Tefillin and gvil is just not done. What's a gvil? Remind me. Gvil is both together. Gvil is a thick piece of parchment which was not separated. It contains both the outer layer and the inner layer of the skin together. Gvil, double barrel. That's gvil, and that is b'sefer Torah, and that's halacha. I'm very scared to say any halacha because I don't know, but I did check that sefer Torah may be written on gvil or on klaf. And today already for Shulchan Aruch time, the minhag is to write it on klaf because gvil is too thick and not so clean because of the flesh. So klaf is actually better. But Sefer Torah can, according to this, more be done for everything. So we didn't reject Rav, but rejected the proof to Rav. You can't prove Rav. Okay, from there. Lema Mesayeli. Oh, now we're trying to prove Rav right. What did Rav say? The tefillin may be written on the chsustus. And that's a big debate back and forth the whole time. Lema Mesayeli. Let us try and find a brisa that supports it. Kayotze boy. Kayotze boy means similarly to what? The issue of the brisa over there in Menachos, I'll tell you what it is can you take, that's a big question, can you take one type of stam and convert it to a different type of stam? For example, are you allowed to take your tefillin shel yad, cut them into 4, and now made them into tefillin shel rosh? That, I don't know, halacha l'maisa, conceptually yes, because it's malin b'kodesh. Rosh is holier than yad, because it has the shin and it has 4, not 1. There are different reasons why the rosh is more holy. Also, the shin is on it also. The yad is not. The other way around, no. You can't take from the rosh and connect them and make them for your yad. That's lowering the kedusha. That's one of the reasons why I put yad and then rosh, malin b'kodesh. Yad is less holy than rosh. And similarly, the same idea of malin b'kodesh vein moridin, tefillin shabolu. You have tefillin that begin to be worn out, and you don't want to use them for tefillin. Don't buy new tefillin. The tefillin are on the last legs. The Sefer Torah Shabolo. If a Sefer Torah Shabolo, also Sefer Torah that not even all the parchments already written well. Sefer Torah is already beginning to be worn out. And oisin men mezuzah. You're not allowed to make a mezuzah out of them. In other words, what would be? Are you allowed to cut out from the Sefer Torah the parsha of mezuzah? According to some Rishonim, you can sew them together. Maybe I'll take the V'hoyim Shema. A Sefer Torah is half machuk. He's already not. It was in a leak, lo aleinu, or fire. Let's take the V'hafta, cut it out. Take V'hoyim Shema, cut it out, sew them together, and have a mezuzah. Some Rishonim said that to sew them is okay for mezuzah. Taisa says otherwise. I don't have time to explain. Yeah. The question is, am I allowed to take parts of the Sefer Torah or the tefillin and rearrange them, cut them out, and rearrange them for mezuzah? You're not allowed to do that. Why aren't you allowed to do that? As I told you, Sefer Torah is holier than tefillin. Tefillin are holier than mezuzah. So you're not allowed to take Sefer Torah and tefillin and lower the kedusha for tefillin. Wait a second. What are you talking about? You get what's wrong over here? Taima den moridin. The only reason why you can't Sefer Torah and lower it to be a mezuzah is why? Because you can't lower the kedusha. Ha moridin oisin. Let's say it would have been okay to lower the kedusha. It would be okay. But what is it written on? The chtiva amai. What is the Sefer Torah written on? Or the tefillin. Sefer Torah is whatever you want. What are the tefillin written on that you have a havamina to take the tefillin and write and use them for mezuzah? What is it written on? Amai lav dechtiva duchsustus. Must be it's written on duchsustus. Let's explain the question. If you're so exclusive, not like Rav, let's be on the anti-Rav camp. We're exclusive Yekisha people. Everything compartment. Mezuzah only duchsustus. Tefillin only klaf. Then how can you change from one to the other? It's the wrong kind of material. And the brisa sounds like it's okay to do it, if not from a reading B'Kodesh, right? So mashma, you see the Rav was right. You see, there's a common denominator between mezuzah and klaf. There's duchsustus. You see, Rav was right. You're allowed to write duchsustus for the tefillin. And says the Gemara, what? Sefer Torah can be everything, so that's not a proof. We said that already. Sefer Torah, any of the three. He's out of the game. That's good. But the tefillin and mezuzah, that's the issue. Says the Gemara, loy. Dechtiva ala klaf. Oh, maybe really tefillin can be only written on klaf, right? Okay. And from the klaf of tefillin, you're allowed to lower it now and make mezuzah, which is also good for klaf. Opa! Mezuzah klaf mikas vinan. Can mezuzah be on klaf? Up until that there was taboo. Now with the other switch, the other b'diavad, can mezuzah be on klaf? Yes, you can. Frag the Gemara, no. Vatane kotzva la klaf la niyav la matlis psula. What are you talking about? We saw that if you write on klaf near matlis, and we understand we're talking what about a matlis, which is a klaf, and it is possible for mezuzah. So how can you tell me mezuzah can be written on klaf? Rabbi Meir hoya kosva la klaf mipnei shemishtameres. Machloikes. You thought all your life mezuzah cannot be written on klaf. Mazel tov. There's an opinion of Rabbi Meir who prefers klaf for mezuzah because klaf preserves better. The duchsustus is all more touching the flesh, is not so good. Mezuzah is absolutely okay for both, according to Rabbi Meir. Klaf and duchsustus for mezuzah. And therefore, could be that Rav is not proven right? Because could be, you know why you could inferior lower from klaf to mezuzah? Maybe klaf can be from tefillin to mezuzah. Tefillin are only klaf. You could have lowered it to mezuzah, which is also klaf. Because mezuzah can be both duchsustus and klaf. And maybe tefillin could be only klaf. That's an option now. Says the Gemara, wait a second. Now we found a treasure. Hashta doses lahochi. Now that you told me the big news that mezuzah can be written on klaf, wow. I'm going to reread the entire sugya right from the beginning. We're going to make a huge change right from the root of the sugya of Rav. LeRav Nami, let's revisit Rav and learn Rav again. Lotema duchsustus klaf. When Rav says duchsustus is like klaf, you know what it means? It doesn't mean duchsustus is good as klaf, meaning that just like tefillin, which is klaf, duchsustus is also good for tefillin. Elaema klaf areku duchsustus, right? Klaf is like duchsustus, meaning ma duchsustus kosev mezuzah, klaf kosev mezuzah. Very nice. This says Tosfos and the other Rishonim. We knew that Rav compared klaf to duchsustus. The question is, who's compared to who? Let's compare my situation to the situation of I don't know, a regular guy situation, not me, to a guy, a big guy, somebody choshu. He said this guy is so famous as I don't know, Trump. Well, you said Trump is as famous as him. No, right? In other words, where's the comparison? Who's compared to who? In the Havamina, we thought Rav is telling me that in tefillin, for tefillin, duchsustus is as good as klaf. Now we say no. Enochnami klaf is only klaf. Tefillin are only klaf. Nothing else. And the comparison was the other way around. He holds like Rabbi Meir, and he says for mezuzah, klaf is as good as duchsustus. So for mezuzah, you can have both. For the little bit, tiny bit I checked in halacha is that enochinami mezuzah can be written both duchsustus and klaf. I think so. And tefillin are only klaf. Kaf nira, that's what I saw for the little bit. And the gvil with mezuzah is the machlokas rishonim I saw. And gvil for sefer Torah is good, and also klaf for sefer Torah is more accepted. I really have to run now. Atzlacha uvracha. So tomorrow we meet here again. We'll find the plug. We'll manage. Atzlacha. Thank you for the new participants. Thank you, Akiva. So good. Tov Shabbat. Good to see you. Atzlacha uvracha. Thank you. Yeah. I'm sorry I didn't tell you. Atzlacha. Shkoyach.